1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, guys.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey, guys. I am James Hake of the Hake Report, and I am on my phone for show-related stuff, actually, so don't be judging me, but you can judge me. But anyways, it is 9 a.m. Pacific time, Thursday, August 15th, 2019, live in the fourth hour of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show, stream including YouTube, dlive.tv/Jesse Lee Peterson, and I am going to be making sure that those guys read all of you guys' super chats and D-Lives tomorrow morning. Well, Joel will make sure. He already does that. So we didn't get to the last bunch of D-Live diamonds and ninjaginis and potential ninjets, but we will get to them tomorrow, so please be patient with us. And we also didn't get to the Streamlabs, but we will. So just be patient. We appreciate them very much. So you can be listening or watching live on my show during the week on JLPTalk.com. JLPTalk.com. It redirects to JesseLeePeterson's.com, but it goes to the radio show page section of Jesse's site. And you can podcast my show via going to thehakereport.com or just look for The Hake Report on your Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all that. So Project Veritas, and you guys can call in 888-775-3773. But Project Veritas is exposing Google, and we kind of, most of us, I guess, already know that Google is anti-conservative and anti-independent. They're pro-establishment and just a bunch of liberal brainwashed people, do-gooders, doing evil. So, Drudge reports Google whistleblower goes public detailing a news blacklist. They have a blacklist of news sites, including Newsbusters, which exposes the liberal media bias, and Media Matters, incidentally, which is very biased against conservatives. And because I guess this story goes that a lot of users block those sites. And so they blacklist those just based on popular action. Shameful. Human raters. They have human raters, meaning humans go in and rate videos and channels and news sites on whatever, whether they're biased or not, as if these human raters are not biased themselves, and they are very biased. Google is very anti-conservative. And more. They're anti-Jesse. They've called Jesse hate speech. They're not as bad as some of those smaller platforms, but they're pretty bad. Video came out of this Google whistleblower. His name is Zachary Voorhees, saying a burden was lifted off my soul by coming forward. He thinks that people have been waiting for a Snowden moment, and I have some quotes from him. I have some pictures and quotes. So in June of 2019, Project Veritas published internal Google documents revealing algorithmic unfairness. You know, you always hear about the algorithm, right? It's not us, it's the algorithm. But human beings made the algorithms, and these algorithms are anti-conservative. You know, like, say, for example, you use the word illegal alien. Well, so-called objective news sites don't even use the term illegal alien, even though that's what they are. AP famously, in 2013 or 2014, I believe, quit using the term illegal alien. And so that's considered hateful because people use that. It's dehumanizing. So they listened to the liberal radicals that don't want to call illegal aliens illegal aliens. It's because some people use it and say it out of anger or hatred or whatever. It sounds so ugly to the liberals. who are very emotional, and they're hateful people, but they think that anything that the conservatives say that's harsh is hate. And so this guy, this insider and leaker, Zachary Voorhees, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, started collecting documents a year ago or so. And I have a quote that we can put up. I saw something dark and nefarious going on within the company, and I realized that they were not going to only tamper with the elections, but use that tampering with the elections to essentially overthrow the United States, which I think is kind of an apt description of what the media tends to do, including social media, which is Google. Google is also bigger than just social media, too. It's also like your news, people tend to search things online. They tend to search on Google. Google it. So they're like huge. And then it's run by a bunch of liberals, mostly. In another quote, Voorhees says that I felt our entire election system was going to be compromised forever by this company that told the American public that it was not going to do any evil. And they canceled that. They canceled that thing. They used to say, do no evil or something like that. Don't be evil. Well, they're evil. They got rid of that one. They got rid of that line. Google sent a threatening letter to this leaker, this Google insider, Zachary Voorhees, according to him. They knew what I had done, and that letter contained several demands, which is understandable. You don't want employees backstabbing your company. But this company is backstabbing America, especially the conservative side. After being identified as a leaker, Voorhees was approached by law enforcement at his residence in California. He told Project Veritas, and I have this quote to put up for you guys. They got inside the gate. This is the SWAT one. The police, and they started banging on my door. And so the police decided that they were going to call in additional forces. They called in the FBI, they called in the SWAT team, and they called in a bomb squad. This is a large way in which Google tries to intimidate their employees that go rogue on the company. And San Francisco police did confirm to Project Veritas that they did receive a quote-unquote mental health call and responded to Voorhees' address that day. So basically, Google kind of swatted him. Shameful. Or somebody did, according to him. Pretty crazy. And I'm going to give my take on Google and the government, because basically my take is these social media companies and the government are run by a bunch of liberals that are emotional. They're apocalyptic about stupid stuff. It reminds me of these shows about the government, these video series, drama series that you may see on Netflix or whatever, if you still watch that stuff, or if you used to watch that stuff, that talks about, we want to save our democracy. That's how these people think. And it's so melodramatic and ridiculous. Anyways, and I have more to get to as well. Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar being barred from entering Israel. Interesting. At the behest of Trump, I think. And there's some anti-American Jews, part of a protest, anti-ICE protest, who were hit. They claim to have been run over by a corrections officer over in Rhode Island. I read about this story. Crazy. I don't know what the driver's supposed to do, but I would like to hear his side of the story, or ICE's side, or whoever was over there. And then I have these Chinese protests. Trump tweeted about these Chinese protests and suggested President Xi meet with these people directly. Kind of like President Trump offered to meet with Black Lives Matter. He said, I think I can talk with these people. But he said, there's some people you just can't talk to, and that's true, too. Anyway, Richard, out of North Carolina, first-time caller. Richard, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Happy Men's History Month.
Yeah, happy Men's History Month, man. We celebrate that here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Nice.
I'm a first-time caller. Never been able to get through on the JLP show, but started listening to you recently, and I like the news that you're disseminating. It's not the news that we tend to see on TV at all.
Yeah. Cool, man. I appreciate that.
Well, I wanted to ask you one question. I didn't, when they first asked me, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to comment on the show. But just
Cool.
what you were talking about, why aren't there any? I've heard people talking about having like a Christian Google or something, or something
Yeah.
that's not so. It seems like they're not just anti-conservative; they're anti-Christian. It seems like most of these sites.
Yeah.
If you espouse a view that has anything to do with Christianity, you're a hater, and
True.
I don't know.
Some people I've seen use the platform DuckDuckGo to search, and I've used it before too, DuckDuckGo. And
Okay.
so that's I don't know if it's Christian specifically, but they don't, keep tabs on you. They don't, I don't know. They're not like Google where you do a search and then all of a sudden you get a bunch of advertisements based on the search you just searched, when you may not even be interested in the products that related to that search, but whatever. So there are other platforms, and as these companies crack down on conservatives and independent creators, these independent creators are moving towards or building up the more independent platforms. So these places, Google and all of them are kind of shooting themselves in the foot by being so oppressive, let's call it, because BitShoot is growing. By the way, Jesse is on BitShoot. He has 3 channels on BitShoot: Jesse Lee Peterson, The Fallen State, and Bonder Bill and the Man. And I have my channel there, The Hake Report, on BitShoot. And most of what we put up on YouTube gets automatically uploaded to BitShoot. And so I do recommend subscribing there and all that. And then we're also on Gab and Minds, gab.com and minds.com. And there are others. It's hard to stay active on these platforms unless we get banned completely. And then you kind of have to be active on them. But it's definitely recommended to be on like as many platforms as you can, especially Jesse, because he wants to get the truth out to as many people as possible, I think. And so we're on like all the platforms we can. And, Google or YouTube falsely accused Jesse of hate speech and demonetized his channel. And hey, whatever, we're just continuing to stream. He is not changing his message, or he's an old school real American. And those people, you're not gonna get them to change their language to be more politically correct or kiss up to the liberal false sensitivities. It's madness.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. See, I'm not all just, I don't think we have to have an exclusively Christian site or something like a Christian Facebook, but it's like the marketplace of ideas. If you don't agree with them, that's what I'm really opposed to. And they shut you down and shut your voice out. And that's so disconcerting,
Yep.
But I'm glad that I know BitShoot. The other one's Minds. You said M-I-M-E-S?
No, Minds, like your mind, your brain.
M-I-N-D. Okay.
Minds.
Okay.
Minds with an S at the end. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, Mr. Hake. I don't know your first name. But,
James. Thank you, Richard. James.
James.
Yep.
I appreciate you. I'll keep listening to you, and I wish you the best, man. Have a great weekend coming up, and we'll be listening on the side, okay?
All right. Appreciate it. Take care, Richard.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. Yeah, we are streaming. I don't think I mentioned all the places that we're streaming on. We're streaming on, like I said, YouTube, of course, dlive.tv/Jesse Lee Peterson, and mixer.com/JLP Talk. Mixer is owned by Microsoft, but it's kind of a smaller competitor to Twitch.tv. And we do have twitch.tv/JLP Talk. But on that platform, because they keep on flagging Jesse for hate speech, so-called, on the radio show, he only streams church services, Church with Jesse Lee Peterson, Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. Pacific time. It's afternoon for Eastern time. So you can follow Jesse there. And then we're also on Periscope, of course, periscope.tv/JLP Talk, /The Hake Report for me. On Sundays, I stream on my channels. Anyways, let me get to some more calls, and then I'll deal with this other stuff. Rufus out of Kansas. How are you?
Hey, very good. We talk again, right?
Yeah, nice to hear from you.
Yeah. Hey, it's good to hear you again.
Right
Hey,
on.
there were two things I wanted to run by you. On Jesse's show yesterday, it cracked me up when he was talking about that beta man that dressed like his wife for 60 plus years. She picked his clothes out every day.
Oh man. Isn't that sad?
That's embarrassing. Any man that does that, that's shameful.
Yeah.
I think I've been married for 25 years. There was one event where my wife and I dressed alike,
Ouch.
and it only happened one day. But for her to pick up my clothes every day, that would be totally embarrassing.
Yeah. I really agree. It's sad that people don't see that it's wrong. I think they know that it's wrong inside. They feel weird about it. They feel funny. I talked with a guy who did something wrong, a grown man, who did something wrong, but he had convinced himself that it was right at the behest of his wife, I think. And he felt so silly doing it, but he still couldn't admit that it was wrong. He said his conscience was not pricked for it and everything, but he still got that feeling of sheepish shamefulness, but he just he didn't know why. It's funny. That's rationalization for you. You rationalize doing wrong.
Yeah, I like to measure when people have conflicts about whether something's right or wrong. I always ask them, would you do it in front of the world, and would you talk about it freely?
Yeah.
That usually exposes it. But hey, I'm working, so I haven't listened to the show very closely. I just wondered if you guys talked about the Project Veritas. Guy was talking about Google.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk about that today?
In fact, Jesse has not, but I just did. I just talked a little bit about it. How they are, and they tried to crack down on him, apparently, according to him.
Oh yeah, I looked at the Project Veritas website.
Yeah.
And he has lists. I'm talking about numerous lists of everybody's name that you know and don't know that's conservative that they've listed as they're going to mess with their website or mess with people's search to their website.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, folks. Look it up.
Yeah. I appreciate it, Rufus.
Hey, thank you, sir. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Take care.
All right.
Moses out of Colorado. Moses, how are you?
I am fantastic. How about you?
Doing fine, thank you. Nice to hear from you.
Hey, nice to hear from you as well. I got a question, man. I'm looking for a little bit of advice about this. So my father, he just got out of prison. He just did 5.5 years. He got lucky, and he got accused of some things, and he got out, and now he's drinking again. And I FaceTimed him the other day, but he was openly expressing, oh yeah, having a beer again, this, that, and the third. But he got locked up for being violent. So, and it was alcohol related. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I go about telling him, like, Dad, this isn't a good idea, without him taking offense to it or without starting an argument.
Oh, this may be more of a question for Jesse, but just briefly, I'll just say, just tell him, because you're not going to be able to control how his reaction is going to be. So just tell him the truth as best you can. And then if he starts to try to argue, don't get sucked in. And if you get sucked in, then oh well, but just be calm, don't be judging him. And then it's up to him. He's in his 50s, you said? I mean, he's a grown man.
He's about to turn 50. He's actually 47.
Okay. Well, he's a grown man. It's nice that you want to warn him. That's good. If you have not already, then yeah, do so. But if you have already, then just let him suffer. Because people, once they get a warning, if they don't heed it, it's on them. And then if you press it, you're just going to entrench him more. if you try to like harp on it with him. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I mean, it is good to be that that light, that reminder. You know, somebody say like, I've gotten a little out of shape, let's say, or maybe not a little. I've gotten pretty out of shape, like hurt my beta back, and I've gotten warnings over time, and people will remind me every now and then, and it'll be like I'll be like, I don't want to listen to this, but it is. They're not trying to force me, so don't try to force him. But they're just reminding me. It's kind of like holding up a mirror, reminding you of what you are. That part is good, but I would say don't be a mama. You know what I mean, to him.
Yeah. Good. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
I haven't warned him yet, so I will definitely shoot the warning out. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to press it any further. You know, if he, you know, it's like what you said. He makes his own decision. He's a grown man.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll just support him as a son. Support the good things, but I won't support the bad or anything beta.
Yeah. If you or he want, private counseling with Jesse, I definitely recommend it if he's open to it or if you are open to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the bond. You would call the bond office in that case. You know the bond office number?
No, I actually got a pen right here.
Okay.
And I got a paper in front of me.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
the bond office number is 323-782-1980. 323-782-1980. And the website is rebuildingtheman.com. And they
Awesome.
Yeah. And so it has counseling and all that stuff. But I mean it's down to the person has to be ready to change, you know, and actually do it. Follow the advice. Because all the counseling in the world just makes you feel good, and then you don't change if you're just one of those people that just wants to feel good and not really change, but just get your brain tickled by nice information. You know what I mean? So
that's right.
Yeah, there's no guarantee that you're going to change if you're not ready to change, or he will change if he's not ready to change. Because it's up to you.
That's very true. I truly thank you, James. And I actually have I want to get your opinion on this other thing too.
Okay.
What's going on with former President Bill Clinton? It's been confirmed by Donald Trump that he's been on Epstein's plane to Africa 27 or 28 times already, confirmed from the log.
Uh-huh.
And then Bill Clinton comes out with an official statement that he says from the horse's mouth he was only on that plane 4 times.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know it's hard to know what the truth is. And you can associate with an evil man if Epstein was guilty of some of the stuff that he's accused of, right? And not be involved in that particular stuff, or maybe he was. Who really knows? I don't tend to really think about that whole situation much because it's so hard to know what the truth is. So and what am I going to do about it? It's like,
that's true.
You know what I mean? It's not really my concern. I'm hoping that the, Justice Department actually carries out justice, but you really can't have high hopes for the government nowadays. You notice that?
Man, that's true.
Yeah. So I don't really think that much about it. I know already that Bill Clinton is a scumbag based on his politics. His politics were horrible. He was evil. He was promoting, he gave us Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which paved the way for Obama to get rid of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, just totally embracing the so-called LGBTQ into our military. And it's just, it's just madness that they're pushing. And he did other stuff, promoting abortion, and he was a fake. He was a liar.
I remember when I was active duty in the Army, I was in the infantry, and in our platoon, it was only guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we had this one guy going through under the Obama era. He was going under the so-called transition.
Oh, no.
Taxpayers were paying him to get testosterone blocker and estrogen booster, which is probably extremely expensive.
Right.
And not only that, with taxpayer money, he got the GRS surgery on Fort Carson, which is a gender reassignment surgery.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when we would have like FRG meetings, which were meetings to keep families updated on possible deployment, the training schedule, this, that, and the third, he would come 6-inch heels, red lipstick, skirt, and the thing is, he would report each and everybody who wouldn't associate with him to our battalion commander.
Yeah.
And basically, pull some petty niche stuff.
Right.
Because we didn't want to hang out with him. And I'm not about the gay life.
Yeah.
No offense to the gays, but I don't coincide with none of that. And
Yeah.
I don't believe in none of that, and it's not natural.
Right. Yeah,
And
it's a
I'm
shame,
seeing
man.
More of that.
Thank God that President Trump is in there trying to reverse some of the madness that they're pushing, but it's a shame that they're doing that, and they're doing it on, the people that go into the military tend to be more traditional, Southerners, or even like, blacks, who tend to be more like Christian, or at least common sense regarding this type of stuff, not educated and brainwashed to accept anything and everything. And these people come in on a mission sometimes, or they don't have the right mindset, and they become kind of mean, nasty, vindictive people. And then there's a lot of Mexicans too that are pretty traditional. They don't go for this stuff who go into the military. They don't go for this stuff, but now you're traumatizing and guilting everybody into accepting it. It's basically kind of like turning Texas blue, because veterans tend to be more conservative. Even the liberals who are veterans tend to be more on the conservative side of liberalism than the liberal side. And so they're going into all these they're going after all of these conservative, pro-American strongholds and trying to corrupt them. You'll notice they're going after the NRA. They're just want to destroy everybody. They can't really keep to themselves, and it's a shame. And I'm talking about the radicals, all the radicals. I'm talking about the people that are pretending to take the side of the transgenders. I'm not just talking about transgenders. I'm talking about everybody who supports them, specifically the people that are pushing to force everybody else to pretend that it's right. And it's a shame. I appreciate it, Moses. Nice to hear from you.
Thank you so much, James.
Happy Men's History Month.
Happy Men's History Month to you as well.
Thank you. All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
And you guys can call in 888-775-3773. But I have something that I want to talk about briefly. Basically, to reiterate my take on this Google and the government thing. We all know Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, just like the FBI and the CIA, they're run by like a bunch of brainwashed intellectuals, which is to say liberals. And by intellectuals, I mean they're emotional, because you can't be an intellectual if you're not emotional, because then you won't get sucked into just obsessively thinking about stuff and rationalizing things that common sense says are wrong. So I've been suspended on Twitter before just for getting into a little lightweight argument with a black radical, black power type of Black Panther woman. And it was over this incident in which the portrait artist for one of the Obamas, Michelle or Barack, I think it was Barack's artist, had made realistic paintings of black women, depicting black women holding a knife and decapitated white woman's head. Multiple paintings like that. And there were people like Onion contributors, The Onion, which is it's purposely fake news. It's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be satire. But there are these writers for The Onion, and they tend to be liberals. They tend to make fun of conservatives only. I notice nowadays especially, and Trump. So one of these writers quote tweeted a headline that said, Obama's artist once painted pictures of black women holding decapitated white women's heads, something along those lines. And so she quote tweets it and writes, white people once held blacks as slaves. And like I was like, that's irrelevant. Slavery is not murder. Like they're depicting murder. And then this black radical woman says, oh, really? And then she depicts all these lynchings, right? And I said, these lynchings, that's not slavery. Those are lynchings. And lynchings are not slavery. Those are two different things. And so then I go in and say, actually, blacks kill more than twice as many whites as whites kill blacks year after year, according to FBI numbers. And FBI is pretty liberal, but they can't really fudge those numbers. And so I said that, and then I said something else, I don't remember. But it was very mild. Just factual tweets, basically. Oh, I said not to mention blacks are, encouraged to be hostile towards whites, especially these black radicals like Black Twitter. Black Twitter is like, if you want to see nasty black attitude, go on Black Twitter, especially the feminist side, or go on Tumblr. Black feminist Tumblr, or feminist Tumblr, period. Anyways, so I said that, and then my my Twitter got suspended, and it was forcing me to delete the tweets, kind of like how James Woods has right now. I believe James Woods, the actor, conservative actor, pro-Trump, he tweeted some quote, right? And it sounded violent, but it was a quote. It was a classic quote. And he refuses to delete the tweet. So to this day, his account is suspended. He's not able to tweet, but he's refusing to. Whereas I finally gave in and deleted the tweets, even though there was nothing hateful or promoting violence at all. It was just, in fact, I was attacking the promotion of black on white violence, if anything. So same thing with Jesse. Jesse has been suspended on Facebook and Twitch for so-called hate speech, for telling the truth. And these platforms don't allow you to talk about people on the basis of immigration status or citizenship status. In other words, if you talk about illegals in a criticizing way, that could be considered hate speech and targeting and harassment. And so Jesse's videos have been censored on Facebook for over a month, maybe 2 months. And Twitch, we're not even trying anymore, except for church services. And YouTube even has demonetized Jesse's channel and called it hate speech. Jesse's the least hateful person that you can imagine. But he's old school and just tells the truth and talks very frankly and says stuff that young, naive, intellectual, brainwashed, educated liberals feel is so hateful because they're so sensitive to the truth. The truth sounds like hate. Love sounds like hate, and hate feels like love because they're just emotional. They don't have real love. And so they believe in this fake thing called hate speech. And so they censor Jesse. In other words, Jesse's American. He's that spirit of freedom of speech. And Trump, too, has that spirit of freedom of speech. So he'll say what he thinks is right. And there have been liberals that want to censor Trump's Twitter for so-called hate speech. And liberal media, including these fake objective AP and Reuters and New York Times, have falsely labeled his tweets as racist for telling the women of color, congresswomen of color, to go back to their countries, go back and fix their places. They're the hateful ones. They just have this fake compassion. So I have an example, too, of similarly, the CIA is no better than these people. The CIA is supposed to be professional, right? These are our institutions. They're like unelected bureaucrats is what they are. The deep state, right? Wikipedia reports Richard Melville Hall, better known as Moby, an American musician, songwriter, singer, producer, and animal rights activist, has sold 20 million records worldwide, and the CIA wanted him to promote their conspiracy theories against President Trump. He's 53 years old. In January 2018, over a year and a half ago, he stated on Twitter that he was approached by friends in the CIA Central Intelligence Agency. Sounds so professional, right? And told to post and spread content about the Trump-Russian collusion allegations through social media. And I remember this happening because somebody I follow quote tweeted him and said, deep state. And that's what the deep state is, a bunch of losers. They're just like the people that you run into every day, the intellectuals, the fakes. So, and by the way, Moby identifies himself as heterosexual and cisgender and had felt disappointed to be straight. Crazy. Speaking of Men's History Month, we need an intervention for Moby. We should get him on the Fallen State or on the radio show. So that shows me the CIA and the FBI. We've all seen the FBI, how bad they are, with James Comey having been a leader. I can't, I've said this before, but I just can't get over the fact that James Comey, we've seen how he acts, right? All pathetic and conflicted about charging Hillary or not charging Hillary or bringing up more investigation of Hillary and whether Trump was involved in this Russia thing. And I don't know what the right thing to do is. He's so pathetic. And he was in charge of the FBI. He was the FBI, whatever, leader guy. And then we saw a whole bunch of others that are in the FBI. Maybe there's some decent people, I'm sure there are. But at the leadership, that corrupt, that's sad. It's crazy. I want to talk about this other story that came out, and I mentioned it at the end on the beginning of the third hour. Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, I have a couple of headlines, blocked from entering Israel. Bibi blocks Omar and Tlaib from entering Israel. Drudge headline. This is a Drudge headline. So Ilhan Omar is the Somalian refugee turned Democrat congresswoman, Muslim, African. And she said, some people did something, referring to the Muslim terrorists in 9/11. And then now she's more concerned about the Islamophobia than terrorism. And then Rashida Tlaib is just like a typical like ghetto mother that you would run into in a typical like messy town. She's like a messy woman. But she became a congresswoman. It tells you something about the people that elected her and the district. It's a shame. I think she's Detroit area. So Associated Press reports at around 6:10 p.m. Israel time, I guess. Israel's foreign deputy minister says that the government has decided to bar 2 U.S. Democratic congresswomen who support the international boycott movement from entering the country. ZP Hotevli, whatever, told Israel Radio in an interview Thursday, today, that Israel has decided not to allow Representatives Rashida Tlaib of Michigan and Ilhan Omar of Minnesota to visit as planned. She claims, she says that it is in keeping, that's a woman, in keeping with a policy of denying entry to those who advocate boycotts of Israel. And that has become more and more and more popular. Boycott and divestment of Israel. And there are some people on the conservative side or the pro-Trump side or the non-anti-white side, let's say, the pro-white side, I guess you would call it, who support this, they don't like our support of Israel. And I understand it, but there are these people that hate whites, hate America. They're the Occupy Wall Street types. They're the Black Lives Matter types who support Palestine over Israel. And they also, by the way, hate whites and Christians. And that's just like Tlaib and Ilhan Omar are classic examples of that. Muslim SJWs, social justice warriors who hate good, anything good. And then maybe they hate some evil too, but they're fighting evil with evil. So I would not recommend not joining in with these women, Democrat congresswomen of color, or agreeing with them. If you oppose certain stuff about Israel, oppose it on your own platform and not hooking your wagon with these filthy women. All right? So her remarks, this deputy foreign minister, a woman, came shortly after President Donald Trump tweeted it would show great weakness if Israel allowed them in. The two newly elected Muslim members of Congress are outspoken critics of Israel's treatment of Palestinians. And based on what Jesse says about the Palestinians, they act like blacks, meaning they're complainers. Their communities are not, they don't take care of their communities, and meanwhile, Israel's nice and clean. And whatever Israel does, kind of liberal, they have a lot of homosexuality and stuff on there, kind of like what we have here. Shameful. A lot of corrupt people promoting that, right? Tlaib's family immigrated to the United States from the West Bank, Palestinian. I can't believe we let these people in. So here's Trump's tweet. I have it. I'll show it to you guys. Trump's tweet: it would show great weakness if Israel allowed Representative Omar and Representative Tlaib to visit. They hate Israel and all Jewish people, and there is nothing that can be said or done to change their minds. Minnesota and Michigan will have a hard time putting them back in office. They are a disgrace. I personally, James Hake, would be pleasantly surprised if this holds, because people are pretty weak, including the Israel politicians. But President Trump pushed for this. It's nice. Jesse Lee Peterson made I'm going through puberty. My voice is cracking. Jesse made the observation, and I'm stealing it, that these liberals, they all talk about black and brown people, pretending that blacks and Hispanics get along. They don't. Some of them, many of them are liberals, but all liberals hate everybody, right? Because they don't have real love. So they do not get along. And there's a lot of evidence. Fights all the time in schools. We've seen it even recently. There was a video of a bunch of Hispanics beating up a black guy. And this type of stuff happens all the time, and blacks targeting Hispanics. They do not get along. Yeah, they get along as neighbors when there's no conflict, when they're not talking politics or religion, or, when there's no conflict and they want to unite to hate white people. But they don't actually, on the whole, get along. So Trump is putting together America and Israel. They hate America and they hate Israel. You notice that he does that? Kind of like the Black-Brown Alliance, America-Israel Alliance. Whites might as well join up with the Jews. They hate Jews. There are some evil Jews, and I'm going to get to that. Blocking ICE and corrections officers from entering or leaving their own place of work. Crazy. But his criticisms of progressive Democrat congresswomen, so-called of color as the media calls them, he links America and Israel. Might as well, man. Hook up the allies, so-called, right? And shame these Democrats. Because it's been kind of well known that Democrats hate the good parts of Israel. All right, Charles, first-time caller out of Missouri. Charles, how are you?
Hey, Hank, how you doing?
Doing fine. Nice to hear from you.
Happy Men's Month.
Yeah, happy Men's History Month. Thank you.
Yeah, I was calling because I think a lot of the problems that we're talking about today is directly influenced by media.
Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't blame the media for it, but they definitely exacerbate the issue.
Well, they influence
They definitely influence it. Yeah, that's no question. No question.
Yeah. I don't know every white person in America, right?
Yeah.
So how can I hate them?
Right.
From my experience, and I've been in the Army, I've been on the fire department, most races get along in those instances.
Right.
We live and die for one another.
Yep.
So, but when I hear nothing but 85% bad about Trump, okay, on the media,
yeah,
how can I not like the man?
Because
They're not telling me anything good that he did.
Say that again?
They're not telling us anything good.
Yeah.
We don't have the stock that we have now if he wasn't doing a good job somewhere.
Yeah. The only time that the media talks well about Trump is when he attacks like Syria or Iran or something. It's so weird. It seems to me.
Well, I've been a Democrat most of my life. I changed over to independent, and I voted for Trump.
Right on.
Well, basically because he's a CEO.
Yeah.
He knows how to conduct business.
Yep.
He's been conducting business all over the world, and we are a corporation. We're not a country.
We're a poorly run corporation.
We're a better run corporation now.
Yeah, that's true under Trump. I hope he's able to be reelected and finish the job or continue the job.
Well, I wish people would take a look at what's really going on instead of listening to their ears and use their eye.
Yeah, he went after the media and both liberals and conservatives, blacks and whites, and Hispanics. They know that the media is corrupt, and some of them know that the media has a severe liberal bias, and that they lie.
Our whole Congress, left and right, is corrupt. Most of them are millionaires. How can they even fathom what the common man needs?
Yep. It's true.
They're all been bought off. We got the best Congress that money can buy.
You know why? You know how this happened? I think that it's because Christians became corrupt. There's the Christians, there's like Christians and non-Christians, kind of like Republicans and Democrats, right? Republicans are supposed to be for the country, but they're not. Democrats pretend to be for the poor, but they're not. They just exploit them. And the Christians are supposed to believe in God, but they don't. They believe in their own intellect, their own understanding.
Well, that's because the church has been bought off. Most of them got tax evasion.
It's not just money, though. It's not just money. It's on a personal level, like families. The fathers are. Jesse's really on this. The fathers are so weak, or not there, and the mothers are the ones leading all the people to the religion. So it's a mother's version of the religion rather than the true version of the religion.
Well, what I've noticed, and I've been a Christian all my life, is that society in itself has gone Satanistic.
Yeah, do what thou wilt.
Okay, see what you see on movies, what you see on TV, what you hear from the media, and everything's promoting Satanism.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of hard to deprogram yourself when you're being programmed.
Yeah, and then you have these people like these Jews against ICE, and you have these Christians against ICE. I reported on this Lutheran church, the Lutheran Church of America, whatever. They decided that they are going to nail up these, protests basically against ICE. They want protests against Trump, protests against the country, really, because they don't want the law to be enforced regarding immigration. We already have like out of control immigration, and they have this false
I got
compassion.
A question for you, Hake.
Yeah.
When did immigration become Hispanic? Immigration is people from all over the world.
Yeah, that is true, and people from all over the world are a problem. And people...
Well, they're a problem, but our immigration law...
I think it became...
There's a certain amount of these people, there's a certain amount of these people,
right.
There's a certain amount of these people, and there's a certain amount of these people that we're going to let in on a yearly basis.
I think...
Now all the focus has been put on Hispanics,
right,
like it's a race war.
Yeah, I mean, it became more Hispanic, I think, after 1965, and when we quit enforcing the border, the border with Mexico, because... There are a lot of S-hole countries in Mexico and south of Mexico that they want to come up to the land of opportunity, and there's more opportunity than ever to take advantage of welfare system and jobs. A lot of blacks are not working, they're getting unemployment, and a lot of other are getting unemployment, and they'd rather stay on unemployment than work these jobs that the Mexicans are working.
You couldn't live off off unemployment. It probably runs about 6 months.
Yeah, and then welfare and all kinds of, I don't know.
Welfare, not if you're a male. You can't get welfare if you're a male.
Oh, that's good, but that's evil too. They're spoiling the women. Their children. Yeah, and I don't really believe that there's actual poverty in America. It's just there's just a whole.
We are probably the richest poor people in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
We got big screens in every house. Video systems.
Yeah.
You know.
Jordans.
I'm not as good as the guy on top of the hill. But
yeah.
My stuff is okay.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, man.
I got a car.
You're right, man. I'm glad that you turned independent and hope you vote for Trump in 2020.
Well, I'm going to vote for Trump because there's nothing on the Democratic side that even comes close to running a nation.
Right. I appreciate it, Charles.
They're so involved in homosexuality and killing babies and women's rights and, if that's your thing, then speak up. But that has nothing to do with running a nation.
Yeah, evil has become more and more unmasked, and it's thanks in part to President Trump or then candidate Trump at the time. He's really unmasked these people, and it's kind of surprising who gets that Trump derangement syndrome. But we've seen Chris Cuomo, Don Lemon, Kathy Griffin, Megyn Kelly, Michael Avenatti, and even this guy, which I don't really want to trash him, but he's kind of gone Trump derangement syndrome. This guy who used to be Anthony Scaramucci. He used to be for Trump, and he
wasn't all that
crazy.
when he was in the White House.
Yeah, he was kind of nuts. Maybe he seems to be on an ego trip right now, and he believes in
But there's one thing, and you can pass this on to Jesse for me.
All right.
He really needs to emphasize Hispanic Americans, the citizens. They don't want the people coming across the border either.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But that's never highlighted by the media.
He needs to emphasize that.
Yeah.
There's a difference between
that's true.
Hispanic citizens
and
these doms coming across who paid $5,000 in where they came from to come up here to break our laws. You had $5,000. You couldn't have made your life a little better with that.
Yeah. That's true. I appreciate it, Charles. I'll make sure to emphasize that a little bit. Thank you.
All
right, take care.
Talk to you later, Hake.
All right, bye. Maze out of Dayton, Ohio. How are you, Maze?
I'm just fine. After listening to Charles with that rhetoric coming out his throat.
Coming out his throat?
It's nothing. He's talking about abortions and all this. It had nothing to do with his everyday life. People TVs in their house or how they got them had nothing to do with his everyday life.
Hey, that's blame. Hey, Maze, you can blame the Democrats for promoting that stuff like crazy.
I don't blame. Democrats and Republicans are the same to me, so you don't tell me who to blame.
No, they're not. They're not the same to you because Republicans, unlike you, Republicans don't support abortion.
They are the same.
No.
To me, they are the same. So
yeah, I know.
My opinion. But the stock market just went haywire yesterday.
Yeah.
How many people you think lost that money that Obama had got for them, and then they don't lost it all?
I don't know.
Being evil.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
They wasn't very happy about it. Whose fault was that?
I don't know. I don't know who it hurt. It hurt the people. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, and then the deficit.
If you were hurt by that, call into the show. I would love to hear it.
But then why I called you is why are you so happy about Omar and them not being able to go into Israel?
I love it because President Trump is relentless in defeating the enemies of America. And those two women, Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, are part of the enemies of America and Israel. And so
what make them enemies?
Because they hate America, they hate Trump,
America.
They hate white people. No, they don't. They represent the brainwashed people from their district. They don't represent America.
Really?
They represent anti-Americanism that has become a cancer in America. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I want you to answer. So as being a Christian, as y'all say y'all are, give me 5 things that God would approve with his law that he left for this on this earth for everybody to follow. Give me 5 things of good that you're doing that he would approve of.
5 things of good that I'm doing that he would approve of?
Yeah, you, Jesse, and all the other ones that think like y'all. Them Democrats and them Republicans.
All right,
Give
let me just rattle the stuff that Jesse's doing because...
No, Jesse. I said you and all of the other ones.
Yeah, but you mentioned Jesse, too. You included Jesse, so you can't take that back.
Did. Because Roy Moore had him in his courtroom. They didn't want him to have him in there.
Yeah, Roy Moore, he supported Roy Moore, an innocent man. That was one good thing Jesse did.
He supported God's law. He wanted in the courtrum, right? So you give me 5 things that he's going to approve of what you're doing.
So Jesse supports God's man, which is Trump, and Roy Moore. He supports, those are 2 seemingly good men.
You're getting the
So that's one thing. He is supporting innocent men who are falsely accused by women. That's a good thing. That's another good thing. God would smile upon that because you shouldn't be supporting false accusations against good men, innocent men.
Is that in his law?
And he's for turning the children back to the fathers. It's just something God specifically said that he would be doing. Otherwise, he'd bring a curse on the country, on the nation.
You already got that.
That's 3. And he advocates for people to pray morning and night, pray without ceasing. That's 4. And he recommends people stop doing the sex out of wedlock. That's 5. And I'll give you a bonus. 6, he recommends people stop smoking, not be smoking pot or getting drunk, but be clear-minded, filled with the Spirit, not filled with poison, and mess up your mind and cloud your mind and not realize how clouded your mind is. So that's 6 positive things that God would smile upon that Jesse's doing.
Really?
Isn't that nice?
And you really think that, James?
You support smoking pot?
No, I don't. It's not my business for those that do.
I know, but as someone with love, because you have love in your heart, right? As someone with love, don't you recommend?
God's law said, love thy neighbor as thyself.
Yeah.
And nothing y'all do is loving your neighbor, and you're not loving yourself, and that's what's wrong with you. Until you get to that point, then you can say you can say you're following his law, not man's law. Because everything else you're doing, you're following man's law.
Whatever. But man's law you're supposed to follow too.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do. Otherwise,
that's why you messed up, because you're following his law. That's why he left one down on the earth for people to follow.
The Bible says. The Bible says that
Americans going into other people's countries messing them up.
I'm not necessarily for that. I'm not necessarily for going into other people's countries messing them up.
Africa is a peaceful place in some places. Hey, keep people out there trying to take over their land.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, the South Africans
are come take over your house and then turn around and tell you that.
I totally agree, Maze. The white South Africans are just trying to live peacefully, and then the black South Africans are attacking them.
Just like Palestine, we know where.
No, you don't know your history. You don't know your history.
I do know my history.
You don't know South Africa's history.
You don't know South Africa. You need to look it up.
I did look it up.
And no.
The whites showed up in Cape Town, and there were no blacks around.
What?
The whites showed up in Cape Town in South Africa, and whenever it happened, and there were no blacks around. They didn't encounter blacks, and then they peacefully bought and sold land, and then there were some fights sometimes. Hey, they started South Africa. The whites did.
The guy was talking about suffering yesterday to Jesse. Y'all suffering and don't know how to handle it.
Whatever, Mace.
Democrats and Republicans. So when that stock market dropped yesterday, there were no happy people when it dropped. And you had a person talking about
the stock market's not real life.
We need to think about welfare going to other countries that not in this one.
Do you even understand the stock market?
Every year.
Do you understand the stock market?
Oh, yes, I do understand the stock market.
You have stocks?
I was laughing. It dropped.
You're laughing.
And the deficit is going up.
So then what are you trying to make me mad about the stock market for if you were laughing?
I'm not trying to make you mad. I'm saying some people were not happy last night.
I know, but you were, so why shouldn't I be happy too?
On here talking to you before I came on talking about the welfare and having an abortion.
Yeah.
Get real.
All right, Maze. I appreciate it.
People want to see in their life.
Yeah.
So you have a good one.
You too.
And try to follow his law, and you make a better person of yourself. You and all of the callers and everybody that's messed up, Democrats and Republicans.
All right, Maze. Thank you.
Both parties, and y'all have you can love that neighbor as thyself. Have a good one.
Happy Men's History Month. Let me quickly show this tweet from President Trump about Xi. Trump tweeted, if President Xi would meet directly and personally with the protesters, there would be a happy and enlightened enlightened ending to the Hong Kong problem. I have no doubt. Trump is such a peacemaker. Isn't that nice? I still don't trust all those protesters. Some may be okay. I don't want them coming here as refugees. They'll end up getting brainwashed and voting liberal. All right, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Get It Off Your Chest Friday. Women's Forum tonight. Be there or be Red Square. Bye.